Everybody, and welcome back to Diving into Mobility with Dillon. I have the original mobility master of CTS Mobility with us today. So Marty Gleason, who you might have heard through the grapevine over the years, but he is, I believe, our longest standing tenure salesperson on our team, has pretty much held any given hat with anything CTS and any other sales role, but also just very great at developing teams, developing our younger sales guys. Been a huge, tremendous help to me since starting here. So we just want to have Marty on for a few minutes today to kind of review things we have with our other guests of where they came from, what brought them to CTS, some differentiators of us versus other partners and other people out there in the technology space. But Marty, go ahead and intro to all of our viewers out there and let us know kind of who you are, where you came from, and the master of all things mobility.
I appreciate the intro, Don. I'm not quite sure I'm up to the accolades of the master of all, but mobility is a great space to be in. I've been with CTS now for more than a decade. My background previous to CTS was typically in putting together large complex opportunities that fit the client's needs. In my experience with CTS, I think there's been a couple of things. First of all, this business is very much about the people. We've got great teammates here. In our world, I'm sitting in front of it, we try to figure out what all the complexities are of any given project, whether that's mobility or connectivity. These behind me are the 4 pillars. Can go into those now, Dillon, or we can come back to them. But basically, we try to nail things down to make the complex simple through a series of questions that enable us to bring things down to a very simple solution, and accountability along the way so that everybody knows what their role is so we get these things done correctly. As I say, it's been terrific to be at CTS. Appreciate having some of the new young lions like yourself, Dillon. I think our space continues to be defined by the innovation, the things we can bring as a team. How's that for an opener?
No, I mean, hey, you were the man of many words and always able to teach us something in very simplistic ways. So if you had to give us an elevator speech of, maybe somebody new comes into the technology space or one of our partners at Verizon or another vendor, what would you tell them CTS is known for and kind of differentiates us from other people?
Sure, we've got some big names out there, and I don't want to have to rely on name dropping. But to give you an idea, CTS finds projects that enable our clients to take things that are arduous, that are painful to do, that are time consuming to do, and in many cases require greater security and connectivity. Whatever those questions are, whatever the obstacles are, the objectives for our clients typically around efficiency, security, integrity of their data, and making sure that they do right by their customers while they keep their internal customers up to speed. CTS has found many ways to integrate technology like tablets, like smartphones, like routers, along with business operations that enable our clients to recognize that ROI on their project and move on to the next project. Again, the expertise that CTS brings is complementary to our clients in as much as our clients can stick to core capabilities, whether that's nursing and healthcare, whether that's transportation, whether that's POS systems in retail. If they can focus on their core competencies and CTS can bring the goods so that they can realize their vision, we've done our job and we can continue to grow successfully together.
I love it. So I know my first few days here, you and I talked, and of course you did reference the 4 pillars. And guys, just so you know, this is not something that's a recipe from CTS Mobility. This is something out there that even I used in the training world with people or building plans or building solutions. And Marty has just kind of perfected it to make it simple to understand for him and his customers and his partners. So Marty, the poster behind you, which is kind of the cornerstones of mobility with CTS as a whole, how might you reference that in regards to one of our basic small business customers of today? I know you handle, our enterprise level accounts, but say you're talking to a mom and pop type shop of 20 employees. What do you kind of reference when digging into the four pillars?
I think a lot of times, especially, and it really doesn't matter. I think there's just more people involved in the larger mobility projects, but it typically has the same kind of a development process on the client side, where even if it's a mom and pop shop, they've got an idea as to what they want to do, but it's a lot of moving parts. Well, I want to do this, and I'm thinking about this over here, and if I could have my field rep with a tablet doing this, then all these other things could be happening. And what we do, and this, kind of a funny background on this, when I was was elevated to be promoted to VP of Sales at CTS a few years ago, and got back into selling, which is more my forte. But when I was in the VP role, my sales team were coming to me saying, "You know what? I'm talking to either a client or one of our partners. Maybe it's a Verizon rep, and they're a little bit reluctant to share that information." I said, "Well, what we need to know are these four things, and it'll help build credibility both with the Verizon rep and with our end user client." So what we try to do is say, okay, help us understand what's the use case. What's this device going to do for you? Then we want to go to how do we deploy those devices. Then we're going to go to how do we support those devices, and making sure we've got all those things buttoned down. The idea here is that if we pick up each one of these pieces, that becomes a straightforward operation, and we know what pieces are critical. The other part of this is kind of funny is when I was going around doing lunch and learns with the Verizon teams across the country, this was one that typically one of the managers would say, "You know what, we should all be asking these questions no matter how small the account. We've got to figure out what the device is,
Mm-hmm.
what the security is, how they're going to deploy it, how are we going to support it, because everybody's got to get out to the next opportunity. And if these things aren't nailed down, we're going to all be burning our tires doing this stuff."
So if you had to pick one of those that's kind of your go-to favorite that you feel is most important, what comes to mind for you?
I think, when we dig into the use case, I think that's where everything starts. It's interesting because this started really with tablets. Yeah, I need some iPads. Okay, what are you going to use them for? Well, I got a field service rep, or we're going to hand these to nurses, or we're going to hand these to doctors, salespeople, whatever the case may be. Now it's really more about connectivity. What are you trying to accomplish? What's the use case? Well, I've got a field office that's out in the sticks. I need to have a failover set up on that so that we can make sure we've got redundancy, we can stay up. I want to know more about the use case because typically CTS has seen it or done it before. That enables us to help our clients and experience and go to.
Dillon.
Yeah, I think I got to agree on that.
Doing a cameo, Dillon.
And we got people like Pete.
We got a cameo.
We can figure out what device it is.
So to our awesome viewers and listeners out there, Pete was supposed to be on last week, and he decided to get caught on a plane or get sick or stuck in a hotel. There's no telling with this guy.
Catch me in 2
But
weeks.
next week,
I'll be
Pete
here.
Dunn will be on.
The great Pete. It's interesting.
So Marty, I gotta completely agree with you there. There's so many times we get brought into, hey, what do y'all charge for this? Or hey, what can you give me this for? And
right.
My first question to them is, what is this being used for? Are you sure this is the right thing for them? Have you really asked them what they're doing with this? How are they connecting it? How many users are out there if you're looking at a router connectivity solution? So, it's not always best to just chase down best price, but best solution, which, digs in because that can always get to the deployment side of things as well. Because we really pride ourselves on our deployment, our guys in the back, the testing, the configuration, and that goes with smartphones and tablets as well. Just something as simple as us offering to install cases, making sure it's the correct case, making sure it's something that's going to benefit the customer, not just some basic case, but maybe they need dust proof, maybe they need smudge proof, maybe they need to be able to wipe it down 100 times a day in the medical field. So I got to completely agree with you on that. So if you were to look into, obviously you've seen, past creates future. If you see where we've come the last couple of years and you see where we're headed, what are some things you're kind of excited about for yourself and for CTS and where this technology has kind of brought us recently?
Great question, Dillon. I think there's a couple things. And by the way, well said on the need to understand where we're going with this device, what's going to happen. The other thing that happens through this, and this speaks to where we've come from and where we're going. Where we have to be in our question set is more thorough than the client or the partner had to be. We've got to ask the next question. We've got to ask the tough question, because at the end of the day, we're the one throat to choke. We're going to get that phone call that says, hey, my print controller's not working with this tablet, and now my kitchen is down, the pantry's not working. You're right. So where we've come from, I think, is understanding all of the different technical paths, if you will. Tablets, laptops, routers, phones, they all have some different nuances and different needs. We've been able to partner with the right companies, Apple, Samsung, Cradlepoint, on and on. The list goes on and on, because these are industry-leading companies. When you have the right tools and the talent, I was watching Ghostbusters years ago with one of my kids. They say, we have the tools, we have the talent. I think that sums it up really well. We have the tools, we have the talent. Where we've been to is understanding the need for integration around the device, not just shifting a device from one warehouse to another or from one user to another. We've got to have that device ready to go out of the box so that efficiencies are gained, and buy-in, by the way, is gained by that user base. So where we've gone is from understanding who the partners are and how the pieces fit together to now a whole new realm of services, professional services, white glove. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Client, tell me all about what's in your portfolio. Well, I have a small business. I have this point of sale piece. I have tablet for my one person who goes out and sells. It's the same as it is in a larger company, right? Tell me what we're going to do and what we're going to accomplish. And now CTS can go out on the connectivity side and do, from what my clients are feeding back to us, the best site survey output they've seen, professionalism from the time of the site survey through install to follow-up. And keep in mind, CTS is willing to put on 24/7, 365 support. So if we weren't sure it was working out of the box, we certainly wouldn't be able to take care of that for you. But the growth has been terrific on the services side, Dillon, and I think you see it. You know, the opportunity to help any client, whether it's, got 20 users or 20,000 users, is to be able to manage all pieces of their portfolio so they don't have to go piecemeal with everything being a different vendor. Whether we're best in class or we have access to that, we want to find the complete answer, document it, and own it.
No, I've seen a lot of feedback from customers here lately, not realizing all of these things that we can do. They don't have to be like,
right.
Oh, I've got this third party IT, I've got management company, I've got this and that, and they can literally do it all here.
Yeah, it's come a long way, and it's a good point too, because this is, we've seen this at I've in past lives I've seen this when businesses go into a new vertical or a new service or product line. Doing it as a hobby is a very bad idea. I was at an Enron closing speech, and that was one of the topics was, if you're going into this as a hobby, don't go into it. We've built the infrastructure before we went out and gathered the team. So build the field, they will come. We've got to go out and get them to come to the ballpark, but we've built a hell of a ballpark.
I'll wrap this up with this. So I just want to thank, Marty for coming on today and helping us out and giving us some insight. I definitely want to have him on again, even with some use cases or getting some feedback from our listeners, our viewers, of things they see out in the field that they would, just love us to dive into and present a solution of what might we do in that scenario. Apologize for the rough little ending of our video there today. Marty was having some technical difficulties and had some connection issues, but that's exactly why we're here. Fix your connectivity issues and make sure things are smooth, but have learned a tremendous amount from Marty, and he is always impacting our team in positive ways. And if you have any questions or feedback or want us to address any certain topics, please let us know. We're happy to hear it. Thanks, guys.